Hi, Dennis. How are you?
Olis, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. How are you doing?
I'm well. Thank you so much, and welcome to the den.
I find it like
um,
especially great that we have like the same name to me and to your podcast. Actually, I appreciate it a
Agree.
lot.
Yes, so true, so true. Look, I mean, of course, we worked together in the past, and we did a lot of great. We created a lot of great stories together. But when I was preparing for our conversation, I realized that I actually don't know much about your journey. So I thought that would be the right way to start the conversation and to ask you to tell me and everyone who is listening to us about your journey, your story, the past, the present, and the aspirations for the future, of course.
Yeah, sure. So, while I am an employer branding and people communications leader with more than 9 years of experience in like people communications and employer branding and all the like things in between of them, and more than 15 years of communications like overall. Well, I started as a PR person and like media management person, but then like I was fascinated by this like incredible world of people communications and all the things like when a company needs to engage and interact with its employees and candidates like across the full talent lifecycle. And well, right now I'm enjoying, like hugely enjoying to discover more opportunities where I like be of more help for companies around the world.
Very nice. And I mean, I think it would be a fair kind of a fair starting point to ask you to tell a little bit more about what you've done in the past, what type of situations you've worked with the clients or in your past experiences, because I think it kind of, for someone from the outside, it might feel a little bit like an HR role, but I know it's not. So I'm very curious to kind of hear your perspective on that.
One of my friends, he's a marketing director. He recently told me that he's like, well, I didn't know that it's a real job that like HR marketing thing. So, but well, in general, yes, it's like different angles. I started with what we call like talent marketing things. It's like when you try to position and to promote a company as an employer. So you do basically the things that you would do for a product company, or like I don't know, when you're looking for customers or clients, but well, you just doing it like for another type of work, and you're looking for talent for this company. And I believe that it's like more interesting and more fruitful because, well, it's for me, it's like a Tinder, because well, you help like one great people to find another great people to do something like really incredible together. And well, yes, well, it's actually more or less the same toolkit, like for a marketer as well. So you're working with social media and events, for example, to build the top funnel, top of the talent funnel. You work with candidate and employee journeys. You like try to design them and to understand whether it goes well or where you need to like to work on more and more to make the most out of your conversion rates. Your work with hiring outcomes and help them with onboarding and so on and so forth. So yeah, it's usually this type of work.
Can you tell me a little bit about how this looks like in practice? So
Yeah,
maybe one of the stories from your experience, I would love to learn more.
yeah, sure. For example, you are a really big management consulting firm, and you have like enormous amount of different talent programs, and you need to make sure that you have like the appropriate kind of talent like coming to them and applying at your programs. And you were, for example, thinking about what to do with this, and you're deciding to launch a few social media pages of your company to tell about your internships or to tell about your programs, career programs. But at the same time, you need to be interesting to these people because at the same time, you have a lot of other companies asking these same very talented people to apply to their vacancies. So you are looking for different angles. You are trying to find like people stories inside of your business. You try to build like I don't know, personal branding for your talented consultants, for example. and to launch targeted advertising to find like the most appropriate audience for your programs, and then you watch how it all works, and you see like the conversion rates, and you try to iterate and to optimize something like this. Or for example, we may have another angle. You are a fintech company, for example, and you are operating like 12 different countries, and all your kind of HR department people, they speak English, but well, they have different English, like Asian one, more European one, like Cyprus one, and because well, the majority of people are not like English natives. And at the same time, you have like your career website with like more than 80 job descriptions, and you need to look consistently for talent because at the same time, you see that a lot of other companies are trying to like fight for the same brilliant people, and you are kind of checking all the job descriptions to make it like the most appealing. Then you're working on the whole I don't know, greenhouse notifications layer. It's an ATS system. When you apply at a job, you receive like notifications that well, somebody is going to like meet you soon, and you're going to have this interview or that interview, and well, that you have this result about the interview, and you need to be sure to make sure that it's all like done in a consistent way, and that all this experience kind of helps you to have the most brilliant people on your team after all, and not to lose them.
I love it. I have one question that I think will resonate with a lot of people on the market right now, and a lot of companies. So I like how you're talking about the fact that as a company, you fight for the best people and you want them to kind of come to you and work with you and for you. And I think it works really, really well in the kind of high market, let's say it in the way, where you have kind of, if I simplify, more people hiring for specific roles or specific situations than people on the market. I also have a feeling that in the last like 2 to 3 years, we kind of experience a little bit of a different market because of like a lot of layoffs, AI, and we will go into that topic later. But it does feel like the dynamics are shifting, and we are getting to the situation where there are more people looking for a job sometimes than companies hiring. And I would love to kind of get your thoughts on how this role transformed in this kind of situation. So what is the difference between employer branding in high market and employer branding in low market?
Well, I still believe that like companies still looking for brilliant people, and really good, talented people are always on demand. And well, speaking of layoffs and other things, of course, we have the really, I don't know, dangerous situations when really good workers, really talented and fruitful people are like getting laid off, and they are really struggling to find their next gig. But at the same time, we still need to make sure that we have the best possible talent in our team, no matter what. Because, well, if we do it like on a high market, in a high market situation, for example, we kind of battling with other high voluming. It's like, I don't know, for me, it's a battle of budgets, for example. When you try to like to acquire and to, well, to do something with the ratio, for example, ratio of market. But when you do the same thing with like low demand markets, actually I can see a lot of difference because, well, as long as I'm speaking with companies, all of them kind of repeat one and the same story. Right now, everybody are looking for high productive, high agent people. But every company wants these people. Nobody wants like a boring ones, I don't know, lazy people who are not able to do anything like in terms of technology. So what are you going to offer to them? And that's when it's like becoming really even more important, like details of look and feel, cases of your company. So whether these people that you are trying to acquire, whether they're going to be happy with you or not. And well, all this kind of makes difference. and it doesn't usually, you can turn it on, like, right now we need like this kind of people, and let's do something in 2 weeks, and like they're gonna love us. No, it's this thing that you are building over time, and especially right now when you have all this like digital footprint of your company reputation, like that is reflected now both in search engines and AI chatbots. Well, it's getting a little tricky right now.
That's true. I like it. And then I have like a bit of a follow up question to the same direction where we were going. So I understand that for if my understanding is correct, generally this for like a bigger company, like you said, a huge consulting firm, or like very like fast growing fintech, where most likely they have some like external capital, etc. This would be like a separate role, because they would also be able to like afford this type of professional and expertise. What I would love to go into a little bit is what are the like key elements, or what are the best practices an agency, for example, or like a consulting boutique around like 30-50 people size, they have 2 to 3 to 5 generally very good stable client, they are growing at a like decent rate, but it's not necessarily like plus 400% every year, right? So what are the elements that you believe they should kind of incorporate in order to be able to kind of build this brand where people become interested in joining this company, and that they kind of hire the best talent that is available on the market, assuming that their starting point is a little bit different, right? Because most of the agencies are like rarely hyper growth. They're rarely experiencing the hyper growth stage. So they also have less budget on all those investment, etc. So what are the like, I don't know, 3-5 key things you think they should really implement in their work in order to be able to start building this employer branding?
Yeah, sure. One of my last work experience, for example, involved having zero budget at all. Well, with the exception for my salary, actually. But well, I mean, usually I believe that, of course, you need money for advertising or for any kind of promotion, but it depends only when you need to work with, like, I don't know, high volume of jobs, and it's kind of, streams. It's like constant streams for a company that you need to fulfill. But at the same time, I believe that you can build a lot of things with zero budget, and it usually depends. Another thing, usually this type of communications, as well other types of work, the same as the work that you do right now, for example, is usually perceived as a function, as functions. And it's good because, well, we still, I'm not saying that we don't need like functions and organizations, but I'd like to, to challenge this approach a little bit and to think about all the things as products. For me, it kind of changes the question at all, because, well, the question is no more like how should I build an employer branding anything for my company. The question turns into how to build, for example, a warm pipeline of candidates. And now you're thinking about
I love it.
Because, well, it's no longer about audience, it's about its users. It's not no longer about, I don't know, set of activities for activation, but it's about, I don't know, operational system behind it, a strategy, like, I don't know, it's not about measurements just for the sake of measurement, but, well, your kind of talks shift into the field of like the most simplest, but, well, at the same time, the most, I don't know, useful metric system, like, I don't know, traffic, plus your applications, plus the hiring outcome, something like this. So I will start with asking these kind of questions at first. Of course, if you have me or another person like me who like can spend their time like exploring the fields more and more for company, I would do like a simplest research, the simplest kind of research you can like do in order to understand your employer value proposition, like why are you so interesting you could be that interesting for like your talent. It just go for your last 5 hires and ask them why they kind of chose you. And it gives you like a lot of perspective into that. And then you can go and ask 5 other people who rejected your offer, but you wanted them so badly, and you can ask them the same question. So why did you reject? So, and you can get into another set of things to understand how the things is going on. It can give you like another perspective to understand what's like doesn't work right now for you, what you can fix before kind of going and launching another amazing advertising or editorial campaign with somewhere else, I don't know, launching a social media asset or something like this. So I would do this thing, and I would start talking to people and looking for real life stories, because they can fit, something really working around campaigns with like, real branding. But we need to show in the first place, I believe that one project breakdown a month from someone who on the team who really loves what they do works much more useful than a constant, I don't know, flow of just job postings on your social media, something like this. Because, at the end, people choose people to work with.
I like it. I mean, I have a lot of follow-up questions to that, but I think I'll ask two. So let's try to brainstorm a bit. When I think about people we are working with, so generally, as I said, they are like 30, 50 people. They've been around for like 3, 4, 5, 7 years sometimes. They've done hiring. They most likely have their company LinkedIn page. They have candidates coming in and out sometimes. Generally, it's handled either by the founder or by one of their like leaders. So like founder -1. If like, what are the like 3 things you think they should start kind of implementing? So let's assume they talk to people, they kind of understand a little bit who they are, why people come, why people reject them, etc. Like, what are the tangible things they should start thinking about? Is it like a LinkedIn, another page for candidates, or they create, I don't know, an Instagram account where they post social gatherings and parties and coffee in the office? Or you also talked about like the warm pipeline of candidates. Who would be like, do they need a special tool for it? Is it something that lives in Excel? Someone who is curious about this topic and they want to start, where do they start? Like practically hands-on?
Yeah, I got it. Well, yes, but again, it depends on what kind of problem you have. For example, you want to have a warm pipeline of your candidates just in case, because you can see like a few talks like going on right now, and maybe you're gonna have like more projects and you need more people for this, maybe, but you don't know yet. We're just thinking about, it would be nice to have like a really great network of people somewhere around me. You can start with collecting the people who are already applying at your jobs to any CRM tool, even if it's Excel or something like this. And you can think of a small, I don't know, MVP, minimum viable product for them to keep them engaged with you. It can be like, I don't know, an interesting talk once per 3 months. It can be a discussion, it can be a hackathon, it can be anything. Just maybe to, for example, in Barcelona, we have like an employer branding community. We just meet once per 3 months, and we just discuss, cases. And at the same time, for us, it's a good professional network. But of course, we have sponsorship for these meetings. Of course, companies who are interested, in having us all just in the reach of their hands. And the same works with design agencies, with productive and high agency people, AI enthusiasts, and so on and so forth. You can, speaking about cases breakdowns. Right now, I think you have a lot of tools. You can record your, town halls and meetings, so like any demo things, and you can ask AI just to bring it down into social media post or into an article, and to work with this. If you don't have I don't know, especially trained people to help you with this. Uh, if you are not that really interested in doing this, I highly recommend to reach out to someone, even if it's going to be like a freelancer or like part-time person to a team, because it's going to be like a great asset to help you with this if you can't afford this. And that's how you start in building these things. And that's how you start in working business. But well, there is no, for me, there is no like a unique recipe.
Of course.
Because well, the problems like kind of vary from company to company, but at the same time the framework for me is the same. Start thinking about it as a product. What pain would you like to solve? What do you need in the first place? And how much money, time, and I don't know, effort you can like kind of
invest into it.
Invest in it.
And then I have, in the same kind of spirit, I have another follow-up question.
Okay.
So, what are the elements that you see people getting constantly wrong when they start? When they get, let's say, generally, like they will hear employer branding from somewhere, they will be like, oh my God, it's amazing. And then they start doing something. And what are the like 3 things you see people getting constantly wrong and doing constantly in a wrong way that could actually lead to hurt the company rather than kind of give them the results that they are aspiring for?
Well, actually, I have my personal kind of collection of deadly things of communications and employee branding. Yes, there are 6 of them for me. But well, let's have.
No, you can. I mean, you can tell all the 6, please.
Well, let's try. I think one of the most critical ones are hire harder but ignore people you already have. That kind of creates, it happens when companies trying to reach out to like new talent and to show them to pretend that they are kind of, I don't know, modern and like work-life balanced, and they're another company that they are they are in real life. And I believe that's a huge problem, because well, you need to address the ones who you are, to be authentic, to be kind of genuine with this. If you respect hardworking, if you respect, I don't know, overworking and like burning out your people, you should be like really genuine about this. If you want to keep doing this, if you want to change things, you need to first work with the problems that you already have internally before going out like to the external audience, because now you have not 1 but 2 problems, because well, you are kind of wasting a lot of money and time and effort to like find to find the other people, like, but at the same time you are, as soon as they end up you being your employees, they're leaving because well, they can't work here. It's not what you
Yeah.
to them. Second, I think let's build everything in scratch in 2 months, something like this. It's like, well, we haven't done anything before at all, but we need a warm pipeline in 2 months. And usually it doesn't work like this as any promotional campaign, but because, well, to start with, you need to understand your current problems, set of problems that you already have, or kind of even your, I don't know, goal or objective in doing this, because usually companies, getting back to the first stage, they kind of don't do this homework really properly, pretend not to see the things that can happen already in real life. And it's okay, but it can burn your money and effort. And it's not about like efficiency or productivity at all, in my world. So, and I believe that we should be like really kind of careful about our resources and our time, especially if you are a CEO or COO or a CHRO or any kind of really high profile leader, because well, your time costs a lot of money for the company. And I think the third one, maybe among one of the most critical, it's a more common thing right now. Let AI do it all.
Okay.
Yeah, let's work only with AI, and it's good because AI, I believe, I really kind of, I adore technology. I adore artificial intelligence. It's like really incredible to have these kinds of assistants and helpers around us today. Because being sometimes a single person working on this set of problems, it helps me a lot to have all this technology on the tips of my fingers and not costing that much for a company with me. But at the same time, especially right now in this era of AI-generated texts, emails, notifications, and so on and so forth, when people already can see, the most dumb mistakes that companies keep repeating and repeating. For example, I know a job description, and at the end you can see, if you want me to make it more friendly, please let me know. It's recruiters forgetting to delete this part that they copied from an AI assistant. It still needs a human touch, especially right now, because that's how you're gonna, distinguish yourself. Because every company unique, and we need to show this to find really our people that fits the best.
Yeah, definitely. And I agree so much on the AI. That's, I think, a whole problem, like a huge problem. But I have one more one more question here. So you said you have roughly 15 years of experience in the industry, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Communications overall, yeah.
Yeah, so what I'm curious about is I observe in the industry where we are working, there is a lot of generational differences in terms of what a Gen X would expect out of an employer, what a Gen Y would expect out of an employer, what Gen Z would expect. And I think we have Generation Alpha are growing and coming. And some of them are already, very rare cases, but some of them are already doing some stuff, right? So, and I think if my understanding is correct, globally, what is happening in the world is that people start working maybe a bit earlier than before, or sometimes, please feel free to challenge me. They also work longer, with the retirement age growing, etc. So they stay active much longer versus what it was 10 years ago, etc. And we are living in the time where we have almost 3 generations for sure, maybe 4 sometimes, working in the same company, on the same project, facing the same business context. The company as an entity, and again, we are talking about the companies that are not 2, 3, 4, 5, 7,000 people, right? We are generally talking about 40, 50, maybe 100 people. So how can they deal with that? How can they create an employer value proposition that would be attractive to all the different segments, because you like to call them users, to all the different segments of those employers, of this talent they want to attract?
Well, I think the answer is already in the question, because segmenting and understanding the profiles of people that you try to work with, because of course, Gen Alpha, Gen Z, Gen X, Gen Y, any kinds of these groups, I believe they have something in common, within themselves. But at the same time, we can have 3 people from Gen Y, for example, and all of them can be pretty different.
Yeah.
At the same time, and they can have different values. They can have different upbringing, different professional style, working style, and so forth. And it's I believe that's the same talk as we have had for the last several years about diversity, inclusion, and so on and so forth. So for me, it's the same kind of problem. And another thing is that if you already have people from different generations working for you in your 30, 40, 50 people company, and they are getting along well with each other, and each of this group finds something really beautiful and really incredible about being part of the team, we can again start with talking to them and asking them what they have in common, because we can find out that we have either the same set of values or same propositions, actually value propositions for people, either or like the different ones for each group, and to work with them further. Because, well, for me, usually, I wouldn't say that I haven't seen actually the recent researches about like so I don't know anything about like whether people starting working earlier right now or not, but
That was just a feeling. I don't have
maybe, I
data.
don't know. I can see another problem that companies tend to avoid hiring juniors. If you are a junior right now, it's like harder for you to get your first job than it was for others, for example.
I want to go into this topic separately
Yes, yes,
because
sure,
that's a
for sure.
topic like I'm super passionate about. There is one element in what you said that I found extremely interesting, and I want to kind of get a bit deeper. So what I was framing is that basically like you have different segments, meaning like different generations, and you should address them differently. What I hear from you and what I like about it is that you're saying like stop treating people as generations, start treating them based on the values and the kind of core beliefs they have, regardless of how many, like what is the number of their birth year in their passport. So I want to kind of ask you about what are the like very typical type of segments that you have observed working in different companies based on those values that people can have regardless of which generation they're from.
That's really tricky one because I think everything was so different. Because, for example, working with a huge management consulting firm, then with fintech across like different nationalities, and then with a small game dev company, for example, you have really different profiles of people, and well, their values really rise that much that it was even hard for me. I needed to reinvent some approaches, for example, to go and work with them, because it wasn't like this. I would like to say something about stability right now, because well, I've seen a few research about like the things that people value right now in this era of layoffs and so on and so forth, and it's more about like that this general tiredness of people after all this like geopolitical crisis, all this like layoffs, technological shifts, all this like AI revolution, and all these changes. Because well, change right now is not it's what happened overnight anymore. It's what we have every day, like going.
Yeah.
And there is like a hypothesis that people are really tired generally because of what's going on, and because of that they might value more kind of stability or kind of I don't know things about
Predictability, I think.
yes, something about this, and support and enablement, because a lot of people are really into changing, but companies fail at enabling them to
Yeah.
embrace all the possibilities. Maybe they're the things that could be like more general or more common for companies and audiences right now, but well, it wasn't like this for me like during my last projects, because well, it was
Yeah.
different.
Yeah, because I mean, I think this element, it also depends a lot on the country you live in. Because, I mean, for example, like the government enabled stability in France is not the same than the government enabled stability, I don't know, somewhere
In Spain,
else.
forever.
Yes,
Yes.
for example. But yeah, I mean, I think that that's also what I observe. I think there is one kind of element around run versus change. So, like predictability versus a bit of flexibility, let's say. There is another one that I think is generally like very common is around like the lifestyle versus like the productivity. So this I think is an interesting axis also to look at. And then I think the third one that I also observe is like flatness versus kind of structure a bit,
Oh,
the
really?
hierarchy.
Yeah. I think yeah.
And I mean, kind of going back to the element that you were saying, like you need to hire people who will accept you for who you are.
Mhm.
And I think that's such an important angle, because like when I was in Azerbaijan and we were hiring the team from scratch, like the company was just created and we were building the team, and a lot of times we would have the conversations and we would have people who would like expect to have a certain like job description, to have a certain kind of clarity on the role, etc. And in most cases we were like, look, we are a 3 people team now, or like a 5 people team now. So of course we understand you have like certain strengths, but at the same time, we just cannot yet have a situation where it will be like flexible and predictable. So we needed to find people who were okay with the fact that things are changing, and today they're doing design and tomorrow they are doing marketing. So yeah, fully agree with you on that.
Yeah, me too. What do you think about enablement, for example? Because I kept thinking about the common things. It was in my last 2 projects. Because I've noticed that as soon as you offer kind of help or support to your employees, you're getting like more from them. For example, we needed to increase our employees' voice externally, but typically, when you come to different people and ask them to like to go and have a public talk, for example, or like write something to social media,
Yeah.
like an article, something like this, people usually kind of they're scared, and that's fine because that's
Yeah.
what they typically kind of do every day. And as soon as you're offering them kind of a supporting product, enabling them to go through this experience, holding your hand and like being really ready and feeling that they are really kind of progressing with this, you can see like how things growing. And the same thing I saw in a fintech company where we did like a talent development stream of communications. The company had a lot of opportunities for learning because it was like the rise of AI already at that moment, and they had a lot of internal courses like for about the topic. But we needed to encourage people to take them and to work with them. And after that, we noticed like kind of a productivity shift. And I'm wondering whether it was like only thing that I've seen, or whether maybe you had the same perspective on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think mostly very, very similar. I think it also depends a little bit on the company, right? And what type of people that were hired to start with. Because if we are talking about like public talk, for example, there are certain people who are great at what they do, but they never wanted or like learned how to go and do a conference speech or how to write on LinkedIn, and they might not want it. So I think that's, for me, it's all about kind of transparently communicating the expectations. So for me, like the good starting point is to say, like, look, in our, like, this is our organizational strategy. That's one of the elements that we want to push. In order to do this, we expect people at like level X or role X, to do Y. And in order to help you do this, if you need support, these are the tools that we will create for you, or the tools, the environment, and so on and so on. But I think for me, and I see this in like AI upskilling, for example. I think like putting the tool in front, and the tool doesn't necessarily need to be like a technical tool. It can also be like a space or someone to help them with. I think having a resource is not enough for people to be able to use it. I think you need to have like an expectation communicated transparently first, and then say that's the process you can follow, and these are the resources that are here to help.
Yeah, totally agree. Well, so great. Thank you for sharing.
But I wanted to go a little bit into the direction of the junior hiring as well, as a last topic for our chat. That's also what I observe a lot everywhere, like big company, small company, fintech, consulting agency, like a lot of companies, they have just stopped hiring juniors because, I mean, of course, a senior with 3 AI tools can deliver well. But then the problem is that in 3 years, those seniors, they will leave somewhere because all the people want to have, like all the companies, they want to have talented people, and this resource will become rare, so they will pay more. But the companies will find themselves in the situation where they haven't created this pipeline of new generation. I understand, like as part of the employer branding, you kind of work with people a lot who are not yet part of the company, who are gonna be part of the company in the future often. Like how does this integrate? How does this element of junior hiring, upskilling, kind of preparing them to be hired in 3 years can be solved? What's your view on that?
Actually, there are so many different things depending again on the problem that we'd like to solve. Because if we kind of thinking about having again this pool of young talented people, but like kind of knowing about your organization and having any kind of an emotional connection to you, we should think about it as a product, because maybe we can have kind of crowdsourcing things for them to offer. Maybe we can kind of launch a small course for them to help them become more senior than like an junior. Maybe we can invite them for our demos, or like to see how we work, or to see how we kind of address these problems and issues. Because at one point we should, well, we all, what we all do here and right here and right now, we are helping our business to grow. I mean, our business, the companies and the clients that we're working for at a particular moment of time. And that's fine, because we should think about efficiency, productivity, return on investment, and all the things. And if right now it's not kind of operationally cost efficient to have a team of juniors, for example, that's not what we should kind of, I don't know, preach for. But at the same time, well, you can leave management consulting, but well, management consulting never leaves you. You should think about it like in long perspective, long term, because what's going to happen in 5 years? What can happen in 10 years? And it's really, that's the thing that's really interesting, because if you understand that we need to have plan B, plan C, plan D for this, maybe we can, oh, thank you so much. Maybe we can kind of invest our effort into thinking about this design problem.
No, but I like it. So what you are saying basically is like, if you cannot hire like great junior people now, kind of grow them externally, so that when you can, you kind of hire people who are already kind of increasingly have lived with your tools, with your culture, and then their integration is going to be much smoother, and they can kind of start right away.
And you can have them as your actually fan, because
ambassadors.
Yes, ambassadors, and it's one of the greatest things of this. And you can be genuine and authentic about this, because it's not that you're promising them anything. You can show them, you can talk to them, you can engage with them, you can kind of communicate with them. It doesn't mean anything for any of you, but at the same time, it's about building your relationship with them. And it's incredibly great to have all these people around you.
I love it. Look, I have a last question, and maybe like it's a closing thought. So, what would be your kind of the best advice or recommendation for an agency or like a consulting boutique who are just starting to think about their like employer branding, the warm candidate pipeline? So what would be your kind of advice or wish for them? Where do they start? Like what's the best starting point?
I would say two things. The first one, love people you work with, because these people help earn you a lot of money. And if you're going to love them like really, really much, they're going to help you like earn really, really more.
That's a great advice.
And the second thing, I believe, talk to people and ask them why they do or choose this or that. Ask people why they choose to work with you. Why, ask people why they didn't choose to work with you, and so on and so forth, to understand. It's like the minimum available diagnostic tool for you to see problems proactively. And don't wait for the moment when it's going to be like really too hard to solve, and you can understand your pros and cons at the real moment. I believe it helps a lot. And for me, it's so frustrating and sad that a lot of companies, a lot of leaders just don't talk to their teams at all. And I can understand if you're talking about like, I don't know, 10,000 people team, but if you're talking about like 40 people team, guys, you don't have kind of...
No excuse. Go talk to your people. Yeah, I like it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for having me. And well, that was so great. Thank you so much.
It was great. Thank you so much.